The CDC recommends universal masking of teachers, staff, students, and visitors, K through 12 schools, regardless of vaccination status.
But what happens if your kid or one of their classmates comes down with COVID? As News 8's Steve Price discovered, multiple schools across the county have already had to deal with that situation.
The school year is just getting started, and already confirmed COVID cases on several campuses, including Hilltop High here in Chula Vista, where parents received an email from administrators.
Today, the district learned individuals at school tested positive for the virus that causes COVID-19.
Andres Hernandez has 2 daughters at Hilltop High, and he knew eventually it would happen, COVID on campus.
When we asked them, they say, "Hey, you wanna stay home?" And they go like, "No, we're done with home, so we'd rather be at school." So that's why, as long as they feel comfortable with it, we just told them, just take the necessary precautions and you should be good.
His kids are vaccinated, so even if they were sitting next to the infected student in class, as long as they weren't showing any symptoms, they would be allowed to remain in school.
What we're hearing from the schools that are open, and many are not, is that they're seeing cases on campus.
Bob Mueller with the County Office of Education says positive students are sent home and contact tracing immediately starts, which is easier said than done.
If a student is identified as having COVID-19, the challenge is that they became contagious 2 days before they started to develop symptoms. And by the time they're tested, 5 days may have passed.
Making things even more difficult, high schoolers change classes multiple times a day. If a student has been contact traced, is not vaccinated, and is not showing symptoms, they may be able to quarantine on campus. But most will stay home and study remotely, which leads to the question about students at home that have siblings at other schools.
Your other children would attend school normally, and they would not be required to quarantine unless your son, who went home because he was a close contact, unless he was identified with COVID.
Students at Hilltop say they're not sure who tested positive, but just knowing COVID was already here is definitely causing concern.
Is school going to shut down again? Stuff like that.
Kids are worried.
Yeah, really worried because we don't want to go back to quarantine.
In Chula Vista, Steve Price, News 8.
Meanwhile, East County parents rallied at the county administration building calling for an end to masks in schools. The group Let Them Breathe was behind the gathering. They say the school mask mandate is not based on scientific evidence and negatively impacts students' mental and physical health.
If you think about going back to school in the summer, in the heat, with a mask on, it's just counterproductive. Kids aren't going to be able to learn under that duress, under that stress. And I'm just done with it. People's smiles.
Just last week, Let Them Breathe announced it is moving forward with a lawsuit against the state over masks in schools.
With COVID numbers rising again and reports of breakthrough cases, testing sites are saying more people come in.
The county has several free ones available, but do they plan to open up any more? News 8's Shannon Handy is in Linda Vista with the answer to that and how you can get tested without even going to one.
Carlo and Jesse, we're here outside one of 10 COVID testing sites that's open today. Now, as COVID cases are on the rise, more people are getting tested, and because of that, county officials are considering opening up additional sites. On Wednesday afternoon, there weren't many people at this Linda Vista COVID testing site, one of 10 open today. But on Sunday, when there were only 2 county sites open, a line did form outside the Tubman Chavez Community Center. It's a clear sign of what's to come. As COVID cases climb, more people are getting tested.
When the state opened up on June 15th, we knew that the numbers would increase.
The county's public health officer, Dr. Wilma Wooten, is among several county officials monitoring the situation. On Friday, 1,264 COVID cases were reported, the highest since February. Dr. Wooten says the issue isn't testing, but rather eligible people getting vaccinated.
Approximately 2/3 of the population is vaccinated, but we need the rest of the population to get vaccinated.
Still, she hasn't ruled out opening up additional sites.
We are looking at expanding or reopening up additional testing as well as vaccination sites.
Neither has Board of Supervisors President Nathan Fletcher.
We've never stopped testing. We've never stopped offering vaccines. But again, as we see increased need, we will provide increased locations and access.
At the height of the pandemic, there were 42 sites, specifically during the holiday season when at times new cases reached above 4,000 a day. As for current testing options, the county website has locations and schedules listed. We counted 18. Some offer appointments or walk-ins or drive-thrus. Results take between 1 to 2 days. All tests are free. There are also pharmacies and private clinics that offer tests, as well as large healthcare providers like Rady Children's, Sharp, Scripps, and UCSD. Over-the-counter tests you do yourself are also an option. We found 3 listed on the CVS website. Prices range from $23.99 to $119.99. Some insurance companies will reimburse the costs. None are FDA approved, but the FDA has authorized them for emergency use. Depending on the brand, accuracy is between 84 to 99% for positive specimens. For a list of these county-run sites, we have a link on our website. Just go to CBS8.com and click on this story.
A local substitute teacher faces child porn charges tonight. 31-year-old Andrew Primes was arrested earlier today. Investigators with the San Diego Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force says Primes was responsible for possessing and transmitting several thousand images that contained child abuse sexual imagery. Primes has worked for the Poway Unified School District and the San Diego Union High School District. He also served as an instructor for the Boy Scouts of America Fiesta Island Summer Camp. A new ordinance is being proposed to ban so-called ghost guns in the city of San Diego. District 5 council member Marnie Von Wilpert announced the eliminate non-serialized traceable firearms, or ENOUGH ordinance today. It would ban the possession, purchase, sale, receipt, and transportation of the frames and unfinished receivers. Ghost guns are a growing problem and law enforcement can't track the weapons. Von Wilpert says easy access means guns in the hands of dangerous criminals, potential school shooters, and sadly, people considering taking their own lives.
By prohibiting the sale and possession and transfer of these non-serialized parts, we will make it so that people cannot legally construct non-serialized firearms.
If approved, this would be one of the first city ordinances of its kind in the state.
Governor Gavin Newsom and Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak are asking for more federal help fighting wildfires. Both governors toured areas of Douglas County, Nevada, near the California state line where the Tamarack fire has burned. Several other fires continue burning in western states as well. Cooler weather and some rain have helped in the fight against some of the largest fires, including the Bootleg fire in Oregon. But warmer and drier weather is making a comeback.
It certainly has, Jesse, because we started off the week with that upper low that moved through and that really socked in that marine layer because we had that moisture moving through, and so the sun was not able to evaporate it out west of the mountains. So we had daytime highs that were in the 70s, and now we're talking about the 80s and 90s for today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis. The heat was there, but it wasn't anything that was drastically above seasonal. We're about 3 degrees above seasonal today for downtown, as well as 93 degrees being 3 degrees above seasonal for Ramona. We were right on the money for Borrego Springs. But the reason it feels uncomfortable out there is because we still have that monsoonal moisture. It's still lingering with dew points that are still at 50 degrees or above, and that's going to be the case as we go into the next few days, and even more of a surge of that humidity as we go into the start of the weekend. Taking a look at your current temperatures, you got the 70s right along the coast, you got the 80s across the valleys, as well as 81 degrees currently for Julian. We'll take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Carlo.
Thanks, Carlene. A sexually violent predator who was stopped from moving into a Mount Helix neighborhood could now be placed in Borrego Springs. A hearing will be held downtown next month over the suitability of placing Merle Wakefield in a supervised home. Wakefield was convicted of sex crimes in the 80s and 90s. Back in May, a judge rejected his placement in Mount Helix, saying the neighborhood was too populated with children and that Wakefield's mental health conditions make him likely to reoffend.
A woman whose controversial arrest was caught on camera is suing the city of San Diego. Shayla Piccini says she was leaving a protest downtown in June of last year when she stepped into a bike lane and waved a sign at a motorcycle officer. She claims San Diego police officers out of uniform then took her away in an unmarked car and detained her for 12 hours. Police say they arrested Piccini for swinging her sign at an officer.